Scott at SJWellfire.com. Final Days Report, episode 475. We're calling this Vcast. We're all going to be Gazans. We're going to weave in multiple stories with ICE, World Economic Forum, this land grab with Trump that fits the technocracy map that we've covered before, all these false flags. What's the order out of chaos? The business model of creating chaos, divide and conquer, and then providing the solution that will ultimately enslave you, that will go back to making us all Gazans. ICE is building up infrastructure to detain people. Soon that'll be Christians that don't accept the Noahide laws, that don't take the final mark of the beast implementation, as they hook you up to artificial intelligence, probably with 6G, and you'll worship an image. There is and worship the image part of this. And we've done 5 to 6 podcasts. Is Elon Musk the false prophet? He's going to be intertwined into, we're all going to be Gazans as well. Because the reason why I want to do this Vcast, especially starting off with Elon Musk, is he the false prophet? Check out 378, 379, start there, and then move up. We really get into Bible study of the characteristics of the false prophet, and then tie it to what Elon Musk has been doing and or his capabilities. Right? The lying signs of wonders, landing rockets, fire coming down from heaven, his so-called satellite network that he wouldn't exist. Many of these companies would not be able to get off the ground without massive government contracts. So you're dealing with actors, you're dealing with Freemason shills, you're dealing with probably satanic ritual abuse victims. So there's some victims here. But let's read. Elon Musk insists death is a design flaw engineers can eventually fix. Elon Musk has moved from rockets and electric cars to a far more intimate frontier, the human lifespan. I knew this was coming. I did a podcast years ago called The Digital Rapture. This is nothing short of lying signs of wonders, brain-computer interface play that, oh, by the way, Elon said can read your mind and write to your mind. That means take away your memories. This sounds like a biohack nightmare. The blind can see with this neural link capability, and there's neural lays. Don't be fooled by the FDA's recent approval of, I think it was 21 people, 16 people are going to test the microchip. They have nanotech that will eventually, we'll see the paralyzed walk. We'll see the blind will be able to see. At what cost? Your soul. Remember Revelation 9:6, and in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. So Elon Musk insists death is a design flaw engineers can eventually fix. Over the years, I've done 9 reasons they're going to sell you into this brain-computer interface. 1, health. 2, high IQ. 3, certain skills, and 4, live forever. And then I've covered others as well. Those are just the big ones that I think they'll get most people on. Be able to make money. Can't beat them, join them. Work. As Elon has said, hey, if we can't beat AI, we might as well join with it. You're not going to have a job unless you hook up to AI. All right, we're all going to be Gazans. This is the blueprint for technocracy, and it ties into the World Economic Forum. And first of all, it's just hilarious. Elon Musk basically has shunned the World Economic Forum, made fun of them, and now he's actually talking there in a Worldwide Wrestling Federation show. He's like ripping on Trump and other things and kind of playing like this certain villain. He's all in black. Meanwhile, he has the Freemason symbolism, just like Larry Fink. When Larry Fink started the World Economic Forum saying, we need to build trust. Meanwhile, if you're a real voice on Elon's platform, you are censored. That fake feud with Trump and Elon after Doge scanned all the government activity, they're feeding the AI government beast system. Doge is EGOD backwards. This is a plan. This is a narrative. Right at Charlie Kirk's funeral, both Trump and Elon were sitting next to each other with their little pyramid Freemason signals. I mean, it's so obvious. If you think Trump got shot in the ear, lowering the flag lowering, getting the photographers in place, where are my shoes? Where are my shoes? I mean, come on. You're watching a script. Now, the Epstein files really confirm that we're dealing with high-powered Satanists. But I think this whole thing's a limited hangout. It doesn't really lead anywhere. There aren't any conclusions. It just seems like chum in the water, I heard somebody say. It seems like things have been redacted or scratched or repurposed. And I was reading an article that said that the Rothschild connection to Epstein was kind of fascinating. And all of a sudden, the drops went from, let's say, 12,000 to 10,000. So they're scrubbing the Rothschild connection that is linked to owning the Federal Reserve Bank. That's a private bank, probably the richest family in the world.
I'm sure this is nothing, guys, but it's just coming out right now that this little kid here that stood here with Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, is no one other than Zohan Mamdani, the current mayor of New York. And here we have apparently another photo of Zohan Mamdani as a baby, stood with you-know-who. And I couldn't help but notice that Zohan Mamdani's mother had emails in the Epstein files, right here.
As a child has been pictured with these high-powered Satanists, Luciferian Baal worshippers. The world is a stage. All of this reminds me of Russ Disdar's work, The Black Awakening. I'll play just a couple videos that I found fascinating. So they're actors is the point. You're watching a script.
Everyone told us that these were just conspiracy theories that were not true.
I personally combed through 59 different documents from the Department of Justice and followed analysis of dozens of people online. The content we're seeing is dark. Bottom line up front, discussions of ritual murder, of cannibalism, of child sacrifice, of dismemberment, of eating feces, of eating organs, interracial rape orgies where all of the white victims are bleeding, and the trafficking of young boys and girls with names of Bill, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Bill Gates, Prince Andrew, John Podesta, George H.W. Bush, and others. We're seeing disturbing pizza references, watching cheese pizza, comments about warm cheese pizza dripping, talking of bringing a boy or girl Madonna. There are even July 2020 documents mentioning a killing room and child sex trafficking and murder cover-ups. It's important to remember that these documents include unverified or discredited tips from the general public, but I'm talking about emails directly from Epstein. Looking at the actual victim statements, none seem to implicate Trump in any wrongdoing. They seem to be immediately discredited, with the interviewers saying that this person has a severe history of mental health problems and problems with police. Epstein explicitly told Michael Wolff that Trump never received a massage. Interestingly enough, they frame Elon Musk more aggressively, framing him as if he was going to attend a pedophile convention at 6 a.m. on Christmas Day, though he never actually attended. The documents are phrased to make it look like he intended to. Loads of evidence could have been inserted by Merrick Garland or Lisa Monaco under Biden's Department of Justice. I'm also certain they removed plenty of evidence. The former U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and his stepfather were longtime confidants and primary legal counsel to Robert Maxwell. Logically, we're left with two options. Either Trump explicitly had the most incriminating documents removed to exonerate himself, or he simply wasn't personally involved. Even the FBI documents included in this release claim that Trump was compromised by Israel and that Jared Kushner ran his first administration. You'd think the Department of Justice would censor something like that because it makes the administration look bad, unless they're simply leaning into what the public already believes.
So what did we learn from the new Epstein files? Turns out they reference false gods, torture, satanic abuse, satanic rituals. Baal is mentioned. The pizza stuff is mentioned. All the stuff that the mainstream news and the different politicians told us were crazy and not true. Turns out it actually is true.
What was really going on with Epstein? Because Epstein was more than just a serial pedophile and a pervert. He was an incredibly powerful man who was, by the way, in multiple instances in the files that were just released, talking about his work for Mossad, talking about his work for the Rothschilds. And so can we discuss the blackmail operation that was taking place and which government, that's a special ally of the United States, put him up to it? And do we really want to be allies with a country that kidnaps young girls for rape just so they can have dirt on American politicians and control our foreign policy? That's the bigger underlying issue here that no one's talking about. Yeah.
Now, I found it fascinating as an ex-marketing guy is Davos. They basically have this World Economic Forum rebuilding trust theme. Davos post Schwab, can new leadership restore trust or just rebrand the club? So that was Larry Fink's opening statement. They need to rebrand trust. So is it Trump's Board of Peace? But really, we've covered this before. The Board of Peace involved with Gaza is a blueprint for the rest of the world. So expect massive destruction off of false flags, chaos, destroy, and bring the solution. So they destroy Gaza with a false flag stand down. They knew it was coming, stood down, then destroy everything, just genocide the people, steal their land. So what does this mean for the world? Well, they need prescribed war, which I think will be fake. Death will be real, but they're going to say, okay, you bomb here, you take this land. Famine, pestilence, digital pandemics. We've seen the directed energy weapon fires, things melting that should not melt. We've seen weather weapons. Will they shut the grid down for complete chaos and then keep their AI infrastructure for the Antichrist and this AI fake little God to run everything, to rule you? So expect this similar playbook, because on January 22nd, 2026, at the 57th World Economic Forum in Davos, U.S. President Trump signed the charter to oversee the reconstruction of Gaza with a technocratic governance. This is wickedness. I thought it was funny how Elon said, oh, the Board of Peace, is it really the Board of Peace, like a piece of pie, P-I-E-C-E? A piece of Greenland, a piece of Venezuela. But at the end of the day, what is hilarious is this is part of potentially one of the 10 king maps, the Technate of America, that Elon's grandfather did. And Elon Musk said, we're going to go to Mars and have a technocracy government. So do you see this script? This, ripping on Trump? Go to Mars and have a technocracy government. What? People don't even know what that word means. 99% of Americans. They're going to measure everything and control everything with universal basic income, with this mark of the beast system. So how far are they going to go for destruction? Are they going to go Gaza destruction? It's kind of funny, a piece, but at the end of the day, it's a phony. This is a phony feud.
I mean, I heard about the formation of the peace summit, and I was like, is that PIEC? A little piece of Greenland, a little piece of Venezuela.
we got one.
They're laughing. They're laughing in your face. Soon, we're all going to be Gazans. We're all going to be Gazans with this technocracy, mark of the beast, brain-computer interface, biohack system. Operation Warp Speed, Operation War on Your Seed. Just a couple headlines about Gaza and this technocracy they're trying to build. The move to establish a technocratic authority has been welcomed by Spain. Oh, Spain welcomes the total enslavement of the Gazan people. And it's just not going to be even Gazans, which described it as a positive step toward the restoration of Palestinian unity. Really? I mean, this is laughable. The day after is here, and the Gaza technocratic government is not prepared. This is nothing short of the 10 kings that just might be tech companies that we called out a long, long time ago. The technocratic government run by artificial intelligence, run by Palantir. Remember, the Israel targeting system is called the gospel. That's going to be turned on you. We're covered stories as well about ICE being trained by the IDF. This is the enforcement arm of the mark of the beast system and the Noahide laws that will behead Christians in the end of the days, just like the Bible says. But I thought this was a good video that goes a little bit deeper with some nice visuals of technocracy, linking Elon Musk's grandfather to this movement.
Listen up. So Trump finally released the names of the people that are on the Board of Peace. First off, we have Tony Blair, who is the former UK Prime Minister. And we have Marco Rubio, which is the US Secretary of State. We have Steve Witkoff, who is the US Special Envoy to the Middle East. Of course, Jared Kushner, who is Trump's son-in-law. Billionaire Mark Rowan, and the CEO of Apollo Global Management. Got to have those technocrats in there. We also have Ajay Banga, however you say it, president of the World Bank. He's advised a number of senior U.S. politicians, including Barack Obama. But this one is strange. Robert Gabriel. He's the U.S. National Security Advisor. And I can't find one pic of this man. No pictures. So that's suspicious. I wonder when he will be revealed. And then this creepy one named Nikolay Mladenov or whatever, a Bulgarian politician and former UN Middle East envoy. Now, what I really want to talk to y'all about is what Trump said. As chairman of the Board of Peace, I am backing a newly appointed Palestinian technocratic government. Now, I made a video about this last week because nobody has recently talked about this. A technocracy is the government or control of society or industry by an elite of technical experts. This guy right here is Joshua Haldeman, and he is the grandfather of Elon Musk. He created Technocracy Inc. and believed in this thing called the Technate of America. In 1943, Haldeman joined the Social Credit Party of Canada. He believed North America should be ran by technocrats and that we should have Greenland, Canada, the United States, Mexico, and Venezuela, which is exactly what Donald Trump is doing, or trying to do. And with this system, they wanted to give everyone a energy distribution card. There would be some kind of universal basic income, and everyone would be given an energy allotment amount. And you could not go over that. It would be attached to this card. Computers weren't big back then, but with the computers, this would be perfect. So now they're literally talking about doing it in Palestine. And if they're bringing this to Palestine, how long do you think it'll be until they bring it to the United States?
Soon we'll all be Gazans. What type of false flags do they need to do to get this into place? Destroy the economy, take away all your jobs, more weather weapons, dew weapons like in Maui, like in LA, that suburb, burning the forests, war, World War III, digital pandemic, EMP, grid down, pandemic. The list goes on and on, the tools, the bullets that they have in their gun to make us all Gazans. Oh, illegal alien invasion, then break into Americans' homes. Because ICE is buying up mega warehouses across America. ICE has a plan to install its mass detention centers in small towns across the country. This reminds me of the things we've covered about FEMA camps. This is just another iteration thereof, because eventually the Noahide Law ICE agency is going to come after Christians and those that don't take the mark of the beast. You'll be an immigrant to the mark of the beast Noahide mandates. You need to think long term. They're building the infrastructure in place to come after your soul. So Immigration and Customs Enforcement is buying up warehouses across the country to build a massive network of detention centers. Hundreds of millions of dollars have already been spent to create huge immigrant jails, often in small towns. Bloomberg reports the agency paid $102 million for a warehouse near Hagerstown, Maryland, and $70 million in cash for a warehouse in Surprise, Arizona. And this is where the psyops of ICE are multifaceted. Is the ICE shooting of Prete, and they're pushing ID 2020 facial recognition. Now, here's where you can just find the psyops of the gun grabs and, more importantly, of ID 2020 and facial recognition, because the ICE shooting of Prete, basically the Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, while answering media questions, said he did not have an ID. And then all of a sudden, side stories of he didn't have his ID, he didn't have his proper papers, please. This primes facial recognition and ID 2020. It's a scam. The whole thing is a scam. Building the infrastructure, order out of chaos, let the illegals in, and then they create different laws to go and infrastructure to go after them. Eventually that'll be on you, just like in Europe. You need your digital ID to work in the UK because of all the illegals. They let the illegals in to work under the table. Make no mistake out of it. Order out of chaos. It's evil. It's an evil, evil business model. And it's lawless time. They're taking your rights, as we've mentioned before. Check out that last podcast we did about the legalization of pot. That is a total gun grab as well. But Kash Patel, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have a right to break the law. But under the Second Amendment, it looks like a Minnesota statute, 624714 permit, holders may legally carry firearms in public, including during protests. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that public carry is a constitutional right. Carrying a firearm does not legally constitute inciting violence, from Trumpet News 1. And I've done multiple Vcasts on Trump being the biggest gun grabber president of all time, at least from his words. He wants a sense of the net. He is so compromised by Epstein and Israel and the CIA. It is laughable. Laughable. The right would be going nuts if this was a leftist presidential administration.
With that being said, you can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns.
What about the Second Amendment?
Listen, you can't walk in with guns. You can't do that. But it's just a very unfortunate incident.
What about the Second Amendment, sir?
I saw a video, a press conference where like, you can't call us names. You can't call ICE names. There are going to be unintentional consequences for you. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Give me a break.
Calling law enforcement names like Gestapo or using the term kidnapping, that is a choice that is made. There are actions and consequences that come from those choices. And then when you choose, when someone chooses to listen to a politician, a so-called journalist, a community leader that spouted that type of vilification towards law enforcement or anything else, when you choose to listen to that, that is a choice, and there are consequences and actions there also. I think we saw that yesterday.
But Patel, this guy is creepy.
I mean, thousands of people are marching through Minneapolis. They are targeting the Border Patrol. I mean, it feels like the rhetoric and the protesting is only ramping up. What is your advice to the people right now who are outraged that this is a second killing at the hands of Border Patrol in 2 weeks?
As Christy said, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence. We will, of course, always protect your First Amendment speech. And if you peacefully protest, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But you have seen a trend here, not just in Minnesota, but across the country, in these protests turning into violent scenarios and people attacking law enforcement. That's when you go over the line, and that's when law enforcement steps in.
Well,
and you bring a gun into the district, you mark my words, you're going to jail. I don't care if you have a license in another district, and I don't care if you're a law-abiding gun owner somewhere else. You bring a gun into this district, count on going to jail, and hope you get the gun back. And that makes all the difference.
Yeah, it's amazing how accountability works, when people think that if they actually get arrested, they might have to do time and they might be taken off the street. It sort of puts a little different message into people's heads. It
just smells like a script. That one ICE agent shot that woman, supposedly shot the woman. I don't even know if we're watching theater as she turned right. Because I was thinking about this. If ICE is going out and making arrests and moves, how do all these people just show up right when it happens? Don't you think there wouldn't be that many people outside? It just seems that I don't know, it seems scripted. Are we watching AI? What's real, what's not real? Because it follows my next story. Elon Musk shares AI-generated Sydney Sweeney video after controversial joke about her body. So Tesla founder Elon Musk is raising eyebrows after using Sydney Sweeney, she's an actress, likeness to showcase the advancement of XAI. The 10-second video is designed to showcase advancements in XAI's Grok Imagine text-to-video capabilities, featuring a digital version of the actress on a spaceship, which sparked widespread debate, reactions, and concern over deep fakes. So it's just one of these things that they keep doing, putting in the news. Is this, this video from AI? It's not real. We need to know, did it come from a chat bot? Did it come from a human? That is your ID 2020 papers, please. Is it real or not real? Because at the end of the day, with the shooting, the ICE shooting, he had no ID. He had no ID. So they need digital ID, your digital papers, please. They're doing it on so many different fronts. Right? ICE shooting of Prete. He had no ID. Once you see through this scam, this false flag scam, this chaos scam with a solution to build this technocracy, to build this mark of the beast system, to destroy everything that you've created, you'll never become asleep again. So let's continue going down the path that we've always covered, destroying your means to work, because Elon keeps doubling down. Elon Musk says at Davos that robots will one day outnumber people. He's staying consistent. We've already covered that at his CEO meeting, his annual report, I think, with Tesla. So Elon Musk also says AI will make saving for retirement irrelevant. Oh, really? Why? Because Elon Musk says your six-figure salary will disappear as AI makes money obsolete. See, this is feeding the universal mark of the beast system, where they will control your job. They will control your mind with brain-computer interface. They'll control the food. They'll control where you can travel. Make no mistake about it. And this creeped me out. A new website called rentahuman.ai. Robots need your body. AI can't touch grass. You can. Get paid when AI agents need someone in the real world. Become rentable. Get this artificial intelligence, these AI robots are hiring you to pay you for doing a said task. So join the meat space. You get that? Join the meat space network. This is probably, I wonder if this is a CIA front or Mossad front. The meat space. I get Soil and Green vibes from that. Meat space. The Matrix vibes. This reminds me of Microsoft's 060606 patent. Get paid to do a said task. Measuring you under the skin. Mark of the Beast Technology. 666. That Bitcoin DNA, Bitcoin programmed in your DNA, reminds me of that as well. This meat space, human resource. You're the meat. So you make a profile, agents, these AI agents find you, do the thing, get paid. That's the process. Become rentable. Because this fits Elon's software that I found fascinating. 1 million digital humans. So the backstory of this XAI engineer was on a podcast and just spilled the beans of what XAI is working on. He ended up getting fired. So probably the Lord put it in his heart to just puke on the world of what XAI is doing. But let's read. This engineer during this podcast revealed that XAI's current initiative is to develop 1 million human emulators. Specifically, they are developing a system for pre-training 1 million digital humans. The idea is that by creating a training environment with 1 million emulators, you can train these emulators on any and every task that a human currently undertakes digitally. They're replacing you. Things like data input, data analysis, moving a mouse cursor to interact with the internet, reading, writing, filling out forms, coding, you name it. Musk's goal with MacroHeart is to develop an entirely AI software company whereby an entire software business can be run by AI agents. Artificial intelligence with agency, self-governance, and empowered to carry out human-given directions according to how it thinks it should, with minimum or no human intervention. He also mentioned that the AI agents are often capable of performing a task flawlessly without any specific pre-training. No training required. They can just figure out a new task out. It's not perfect yet, but just imagine where macro heads, agents, that's Elon's software with these 1 million digital humans, will be in 6 months. Especially as XAI is on the fast track of achieving AGI within the same time frame. AGI, we've talked about the two different definitions thereof. Surpassing human intelligence and then being linked to human intelligence, being all-knowing. This is totally a biohack agenda. So I just thought this was an interesting part of this. We do the computer work, all of it, data entry, customer emails, invoice processing, report generation. If a human can do it on a screen, we can do it better. There go your jobs. And then the other part with watching Elon Musk, is he the false prophet with this AI beast system, this all-knowing beast system? So they're talking about SpaceX, Tesla, XAI, to merge, potentially merge. They're going to probably merge all of these companies together for the final beast, all-knowing little god system that the Antichrist will be tied into, and then show up as a hologram. This is technocracy consolidation, because you need to think about this. In the news, they're talking about a car kill switch again, doubling down on that. This is a right-left issue. Control where you can travel. Think about Tesla and the technology there, and artificial intelligence, and XAI, and AI Stargate with Oracle that works with all these companies. So they want to limit where you can travel. This is nothing short of smart city destruction.
Here's a government kill switch update. The federal government is moving closer to giving your car the authority to decide whether you're allowed to drive without a warrant, without due process, and with no guaranteed way to reverse the decision once it's made. We have discussed this kill switch issue in the past, and this update is going to make you mad, and we're going to have to speak up about it. This does not happen quietly by accident. It was passed into law under the Biden administration in 2021 under the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It was buried deep in Section 24220, a provision few lawmakers publicly debated, but one that now threatens to fundamentally change the relationship between Americans and their vehicles. Section 24220 directs the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to mandate in, quote, advanced impaired driving prevention technology. In plain terms, it requires systems that monitor drivers and can prevent a vehicle from operating if impairment is suspected. No breath test is required. No police officer is involved. The judgment is made by software. Once flagged, the vehicle can refuse to start or restrict operation. And here's the critical issue. There's no federal rules defining how drivers get out of that lockout. No required appeals process, no mandated reset timeline, no human review. Drivers are placed into what critics, or what I call, kill switch jail, with no exit. So you could be stuck on the side of the road and have no way to start your vehicle.
Think about X, that is trying to be the WeChat of China for the social credit score. Never forget, Elon Musk was part of PayPal, so he understands the financial system. He wants to make X this financial juggernaut. Elon's companies work with holograms. That's where the Antichrist will be demonstrated, in my humble opinion, from the dream I had in 2008, where the Antichrist was hooked up to a quantum computer. And people hooked up to artificial intelligence with brain-computer interface and walked around as mind-controlled zombies, hunting Christians. And I had no idea in 2008 what brain-computer interface was, but I saw it, my friends. All right, here's where it gets weird. Elon Musk at the World Economic Forum says he's an alien.
I'm often asked, are there aliens among us? And I'll say that I am one, but...
Or you're from the future.
They don't believe me.
Okay.
But thinks humanity might be alone in the universe. So Elon Musk says he's an alien. This is from Entrepreneurial Magazine. So how does this fit scripture? Is Elon hooked up to the brain-computer interface? Is Elon Musk demon-possessed? Is Elon Musk a clone? And yes, cloning technology exists. Is Elon Musk a fallen angel? I mean, there are many, many theories here, but what is he trying to tell us? Because let's read scripture. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. So what could come up out of the earth? A demon to possess Elon? Is this a fallen angel? And beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth, and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. That's what I think will be a hologram tied up to artificial intelligence. And he doeth great wonders, like the blind can see, paralyzed walk, fire coming down from heaven with the satellites, fire coming down from heaven, landing rockets, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had the power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. I think it's a hologram, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand or in their foreheads. Isn't it interesting? Well, I'm not going to go there about the PCR test up your nose. A mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, the name of the beast, and the number of his name. And I've done a Bible study. They definitely put nanotech in you, but you're not worshiping an image yet. There's a worshiping of the image of the mark of the beast. Now, when will this go live with the 6G? Will there be mind control some technology? You just will lose your free will. I don't know the answer to that, but I do know I was warned. Do not take the poison poke because it has mind controlism technology. And again, never forget, ICE admits to databasing Americans and will be creating a social credit score. We have a nice little database, and now you're considered a domestic terrorist. ICE admits to databasing Americans and creating social credit scores. We have a nice little database, and now you're considered a domestic terrorist. This is a lawless time, my friends. Have no fear. But I tried to make the case we're all going to be Gazans.
Here's another claim inside of the Epstein files that was quite interesting. A guard claimed that Epstein was smuggled out before his death. A lot of people have said the dead body that we saw, which, by the way, it's weird we even saw a dead body. You know, they leaked the picture of Epstein after he was found dead. When else do you see that? I mean, we don't really ever see that. So it's almost like they wanted us to see it. So maybe there's more legitimacy to this claim than not, because we do have a picture of Epstein. And then people were pointing out, yet that doesn't look like Epstein. And I'll show you those photos. But this individual anonymously posted on 4chan the morning of Epstein's death, August 10th, 2019, claiming he witnessed weird happenings at the prison before Epstein's death had been identified, and now he's been identified in the Epstein files. It turns out that this guard is Roberto Grijalva. He's an officer at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York. He has been identified as the anonymous prison employee who posted on 4chan claiming Epstein left his cell Friday evening shackled in a medical wheelchair, while at the same time an unauthorized trip van arrived at the prison, which he believed took Epstein away the night before news broke of his death. He was claiming, I saw the guy, they took him out of here. Weird things were going on. I mean, nobody really believed this guy, but let's just go ahead and look at the picture that leaked. And when we saw this, people were like, oh, yep, he's dead. There he is. But then people pointed out, that doesn't even look like him. And here's a side-by-side. Now, this is a picture of Jeffrey Epstein alive that's been turned sideways, but you can see here the nose. People are pointing out that the nose shapes are different. One nose goes down, the dead guy's nose goes down, and Epstein's nose is straight and doesn't curve down. The nostrils are different. Many people pointed to the ears being different. Just the shape of the ears are different. And now that we know who this guard is, you know, this anonymous posting, and now that this has come out in the Epstein files of who it is, I don't know, do you put more believability into it?
Epstein is Pizzagate. Let that sink in for a minute. Jeffrey Epstein is Pizzagate. 10 years ago, Pizzagate was by far the #1 trending topic on Twitter. But the claim of pedophile elites who preyed on children was so insane that Pizzagate was shrugged off as a wild fever dream of a conspiracy theory. I was the first mainstream reporter to dare give the facts surrounding Pizzagate. My corporate career was destroyed over it, so what? My professional reputation was obliterated, that wasn't fun. And I wasn't the only one. Anyone who dared to suggest that this might be true was blacklisted, shadow banned, or thrown off of social media. But then, just days ago, the largest dump of Epstein files revealed what some of us have been telling you for a decade that Pizzagate is real. Not that there is a pizza parlor at the center of a child trafficking ring, but that child trafficking rings run by some of the most powerful people in the world do exist. Tonight, I want to remind you of what I told you then and compare that to what we have now learned.
Pizzagate. It became a major story weeks ago when an armed man decided to investigate a D.C. area pizza place for himself. This man right here, he carried a rifle into a pizza parlor and then fired it at the floor. Media is telling you the entire story is a hoax or fake news. But what does that even mean? I spent the last month investigating. So what exactly is Pizzagate?
Well, the story that came to be known as Pizzagate did not begin with a rumor, nor was it created by Macedonian sheep farmers, as CNN actually once claimed. It began with WikiLeaks, authentic, verified emails taken from the phone of the chairman of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, John Podesta. Those emails were real. In all these years, by the way, no one has actually disputed that. Inside those emails were communications that struck a lot of people, not just online commentators, but researchers and former law enforcement, as unusual to say the least. References to pizza and to pizza handkerchiefs and to maps, to private gatherings involving powerful people, some very bizarre stuff. In fact, the first people to draw attention to those emails were a group of self-proclaimed pedophiles on 4chan and 8chan who claimed that Podesta was using the same terminology that they use to speak in coded language. And in researching those emails, I found a 2010 entry into Urban Dictionary. It's still there, by the way. It confirms that cheese pizza is a commonly coded term for child pornography, CP.
I want you to see these images here. These are the images. Notice this one on the end, the triangle. That image signifies something called boy love. The pizza place next door to Comet Ping Pong Pizza, Besta Pizza, well, this was their logo until only a few weeks ago. Clearly, you can see that the Besta logo actually contains the same image, I'm going to show you again, as that boy lover image. Interestingly, after Pizzagate investigators pointed this out, Besta Pizza changed their logo, and there it is now. They removed the triangle.
Yeah, 10 years ago, I was called a dangerous conspiracy theorist and a madman for claiming that pedophiles and possibly even pedophile elites might use coded language, even though it was online pedophiles who said that's exactly what they do. Which brings us back to this new Epstein release, because in it, the word pizza is mentioned 911 times. That's right, 911 times adults are emailing back and forth about slices of pizza and about pizza parties. And the word pizza is often paired with grape soda in bizarre contexts within emails addressed to Epstein by individuals whose names have been mostly redacted. So here's one. Quote, "This is better than a Chinese cookie. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand." Or this one. "Mr. Epstein would like to see the menu from the pizza place. Could someone send it, please?" Or this one from 2014. "Sit down, because I know you won't believe this. Are you sitting? Jeffrey says he wants to go out to a pizza place with you. He did not mention a particular pizza place, but he knows you are in the know on this," with a little winking emoji. All of the emails that I just shared with you were from 2014, right about the same time period of the John Podesta emails that WikiLeaks published and started the entire Pizzagate saga.
Now let's talk about the Podesta brothers, because remember, it was John Podesta's email that was hacked. In those leaked Podesta emails, John Podesta talks about his close relationship with Dennis Hastert, the former Speaker of the House, who was recently sentenced to 15 months in prison for abusing boys years ago.
Yeah, well, speaking of the Podesta brothers, again, there was no direct evidence of them being involved in child sex trafficking from those emails. But as we pointed out at the time, there was a lot of bizarre communication, including an email from John Podesta to his brother Tony. The subject line, "Last night was fun," and the first line reads, "Still in torture chamber." That email got really no attention 10 years ago, but today, a 2009 email from Jeffrey Epstein is getting a lot of attention, as it asks, "Where are you? You okay? I love the torture video."
To the fallout from the latest release of the Jeffrey Epstein documents, they include communications between the rich and powerful, from the co-owner of an NFL team to billionaires like Elon Musk.
CNN teams are carefully sifting through the largest, and what the Justice Department says is the last, batch of Jeffrey Epstein files.
Friday's release of millions of pages related to Jeffrey Epstein provided a closer look at his connection to world elites from Hollywood to Washington, Wall Street to Buckingham Palace and beyond.
Yeah, well, all those so-called news anchors and their newsrooms for a decade blacklisted this topic. They conditioned you to live in ignorance. They called it a conspiracy. They called me and so many others dangerous for even looking.
For all that is here, there has not been one single public investigation of any of this. Not from local police, not from the FBI, no one. And that has to be the big question. Not for Podesta or for pizza parlor owners, but for law enforcement. Based on what may be or may not be here, the big question is, why hasn't any investigation taken place?
Well, 10 years later, no investigation ever took place. It's a failure of a complicit government and also of a corporate media that didn't just ignore this evil. They helped to cover it up and keep it operating in the shadows. See, by refusing to engage honestly in 2016, by choosing mockery over investigation, by silencing questions instead of asking them, they created the very environment where this evil could thrive. See, they didn't kill bad information as they pretended. They guaranteed it would survive. See, I wasn't censored the way that I was because my reporting was false. I was censored because it was dangerous. Dangerous to narratives, dangerous to reputations, dangerous to a media culture that had grown comfortable acting as a gatekeeper rather than a watchdog. See, the unspoken rule was simple. Some questions are not allowed. Not because they're wrong, no, but because they lead to the truth. And the truth? Pizzagate. At least in the form of a cabal of elites and powerful people who delight in the physical and sexual abuse of children, is real. Remember how we started. Epstein is Pizzagate. But the other reality it's time to accept, Pizzagate is much more and much bigger than just Jeffrey Epstein.